Then most of us use the recommended book by Alfred for older adults, even if it's Bastian or any other Faber and Faber, they would recommend the chord progression 1 to 4. So if C was 1, what is 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's chord F. But they recommend you don't play it in the original position, but play it in version 2. So this is why most books suggest you play F chord this way. And we've learned that in the beginner's class to go from C to that F, back to C, and go to the G7 this way. And most of you who took my beginner's class know these chords. The explanation for G7 will be saved for the theory class. So C, F, C, G7, C. But I would recommend you also at this point do the simple G. So what is simple G? Move the third and the pinky down 1 notch, and you got the G in inversion. That's inversion 1. Because if I put the G down here, see, that's the original G, right? But I inverted it up, and that's also something I want you to practice, how to go from C to that G to the C again. And sometimes you want the fancy G, so you want that G7. Practice both. How to go from C to G, back to C, but also C to G7 to C, and say the name of your chord out loud as you're playing it. Or, of course, C to F to C. Now, aside from the key of C, which we master a whole bunch, we also want to discover those chords in the key of G. So your original chord now is G. How do we move to chord 4? Thumb goes up. Replace third finger by index. That's chord C, chord number 4. If G was 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is C, right? So going from chord G to C to G. Practice that every day. Then from G to D7. Pinky to the black key, index right next to the thumb. That's D7. G. Say it out loud as you're playing. G to C to G. Again, don't curl your fingers like me. That's for you to see my keys. G to D7 to G. What about not D7, just simple D? Well, how do we move to it? We're moving both of these fingers down 1 notch, but only the pinky is on the black key. So that's my D. A simple D chord is this, in an inversion 1. F sharp, A, D, and back to G. So do practice the G to the 7th or the simple D every day. And also G to the C. So right now, it could work for any songs in G. Kind of thing, right? I also recommend you do it in A minor. So in minor, we just have to know the chord number 4 will sound minor, like chord number 1. Subdominant chord number 4 tends to follow the tonic chord number 1. But we move similarly. The thumb goes up, and we replace the third finger with the index, and that's your chord number 4, and it's called what? If this was 1, A is 1, 2, 2, 2. Chord 4 is D, D minor. So A minor to D minor, back to A minor, and then A minor to that 5, 7. So 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4 is E. E7 is a black key, and then the 2 side-by-side notes. The top note being E. One more time. E, A minor to D minor, chord 4, A minor, and A minor to E7, to chord 5, 7, back to A minor. And now I like to add the simple E, not the E7. How do we go to the simple chord 5? We move these 2 fingers down, but only the pinky is on the black key. That is your chord 5 by motion. One more time. A minor to chord Okay, that's the minimum every day. C position. Right? G.